Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, to the Battle of Jutland. And I actually really like this event in War Thunder, and the saddest thing about it is that, well, it's over in a couple of hours when I'm doing this video, and it's a shame because what Gaijin has created here has potential, and there is so much to unpack and unravel. First things first, this will be the only video of the week because I'm on self-training or personal self-education, and maybe I make a video about that. It's a completely unrelated topic to War Thunder, but nonetheless, that's causing this being the only video of the week. Back to the Battle of Jutland. First of all, this was the largest clash of Dreadnoughts like ever. It happened at the end of May, at the start of June 1916, and there is so much mythical stuff to unpack here. I cannot even really start to talk you through it, so please head over to Drakinifel's channel. He has lots and lots of fantastic videos about this topic, and there is also a video from Draya. I don't think that's the full name of the YouTube channel, but he has a fantastic video on it, and you really should go out there and watch that as well. And yeah, basically the Germans versus the British. And yeah, here we can see a German Dreadnought, and it's equipped with 12-inch guns. The Germans in this event have only access to 11 and 12-inch guns, as historically accurate, whereas the British have 12, 13.5 and even 15-inch armed ships out there. But the better ones actually require more spawn points to spawn. The problem that I have is that this battle at max can take like, well, an hour, and if you have a lot of pressure on the enemy, destroying more of their ships, well, you're capping the cap, and so the match ends prematurely. Now, there are two outstanding factors that I absolutely love about this event. First of all, the initial combat ranges of up to 15 kilometers, where you really have to get closer to each other. And then on the other hand, that, well, there are some visual obstructions by some rain quills. I'm not quite sure if you say it like this, but you can see them in a moment where you lose vision because of a basically very low hanging cloud, and this gives a bit more feel to it. Now, there are other factors that are obviously really difficult to capture, and that's the full scale and duration of the battle of Jutland. And there are not enough ships on both sides. Also, in the majority of battles that I played, there were just a handful of players on each side, and the rest was made up, as you can see here, by bots. So it was 2/3 or 3/4 bots, and a couple of players had more or less a gentleman's agreement to not shoot at each other. And as you can see, there is both a run from the north to the south, and on the lower half of the map you can see a run from the south to the north. And the funny thing is, and I'm not quite sure if Gaijin made this intentional by looking at historical things, but it's funny because this might be a part of the Battle of Jutland, where there was the run to the south by the battle cruisers, which was the initial thing. And when you spawn in a battle cruiser, you spawn in the north. And when you spawn in the south, you are in a dreadnought or a battleship. And I think this is really interesting and funny. And you can also make the argument that it's somewhat balanced because, well, both sides have equal amounts of ships. But whereas the British have the bigger guns and sometimes even more guns per broadside, well, the thing is that Germans have 20 seconds reload, whereas all British ships have 30 seconds reload. And so the higher caliber and vastly better destructive potential, at least on paper, if you include the 15-inch armed HMS Barham, that is chosen because of its World War One shells, right? And I think this is really good that a ship like Warspite is not included. Otherwise, the Germans would lose every single match instantly. Because Warspite, if you have not really looked up that mythical ship, that absolute legend, I again want to advise you to go to Drakinifel's channel and go through the various videos. So, I like that it is a different type of battle, but essentially it's the big circle in the ocean. And yeah, it could have been a bit more massive with more players or even more bots on both sides, because it was 16 German Dreadnoughts versus 26 British Dreadnoughts, essentially. So you get an idea that the scale isn't quite there. The issue that I have is also that it is funny that after 5 minutes you're ending up in a situation that is really similar to a normal match on the open ocean when it comes to engaging each other with the distances. And that's, hard, really difficult to avoid by Gaijin. Choosing this map, and this is the only realistic map, funnily enough. So what is also missing is all the destroyer action, all the cruiser action that happened in the Battle of Jutland, which obviously doesn't draw that much attention compared to the fight of the behemoths, the big dreadnoughts, right? And this is the difference to a normal match. So the normal match kind of would be more historically accurate, but we also don't have that many destroyers and that many cruisers of that time period, if at all. Yeah, it's the big guns that are in the tech trees, and it gives a, like, it's fighting with tanks without infantry is a fight between dreadnoughts without destroyers and cruisers. I know this is a bit more simplified, but it also is a little homage to the Great War event, which is also an interesting concept and also falls short in terms of numbers and scales of AI and players and battlefields, right? So Gaijin loves to throw around the big names, big famous battles as events, and they try to capture the vibe about it, but it's usually falling short. And talking about falling short, if you pay close attention to where my shells are landing on the enemy ship and where they register the impact on the enemy ship in the top right corner, there is some large desynchronization taking place. It's not that visible. Yeah, that was really obvious. I should have hit the A turret, but instead I hit turret B. So yeah, he is really shattered, and now he explodes just like the real thing. And we switch target. Yeah, overall I'd say that the Germans, due to the high rate of fire, just have the advantage. 20 versus 30 seconds, together with what that actually means when it comes to the game mechanics. It's just a no-brainer to take a German dreadnought and go for it. And purely taking AP, I think that the Helgoland has served me really well, and the German 12-inch guns are good enough to do the job. Again, it is also interesting to see lots and lots of British ships that you usually don't see. And this is also an indication for me that a lot of people have unlocked those ships, and they don't bother to play them anymore once they are past them, and then just go for it with such an event. It's understandable, the British battle cruisers, having them in a battle line, yeah, that didn't turn out to be the best idea IRL as well. So here we are in the event, and I really, really happily take big bites out of those battle cruisers, Queen Mary, the Invincible class, you name it. I love it. And so the Germans win often, but not always. And the first battle that I actually played with the British ships with the 13.5 inches because I wanted to try out the HE. And this is where then the German Dreadnoughts take damage. The secondaries especially get just knocked out. But the distributed armor scheme of World War One ships designs, well, it just shows that it mitigates the damage a lot, even though HE is really spicy. And with the 13.5 HE from the British, you have the strongest HE shell in the game when it comes to TNT bursting charge equivalent, even compared to US and Japanese 16-inch guns, which is absurd, but here we are. I like the event. I really think it has some depth, but there is no real battle line. There is no real command structure. There is not really the scale. I see what Gaijin tried to achieve, and to a certain extent they really succeeded, in my opinion. I really like the event. I would love to play it a bit more, to really, be there with my Fondertan in the battle cruiser fight, because oh my god, an opportunity to play the Fondertan again and just show them British boys what's up. And I'd love to really hurt a Queen Mary with my 11-inch guns. Okay, what could Gaijin do differently? Well, that's a bit of a problem, because I think when it comes to the pure ship selection, this is as good as it gets as it stands right now. We will see more ships that were actually present in the Battle of Jutland in the future, but as far as it goes with the selection that we have overall in War Thunder, this is pretty good. We have the most important ship classes here. I'd really love to play the German König class, which is basically like the Kaiser, just better in many ways, but most importantly the center alignment of the 5 twin 12-inch gun turrets, where you then could unleash the highest DPM on the battlefield on a regular basis, which I would love. So here we are with a decent first try, and this is what brings me back to over 10 years ago. I started playing War Thunder in 2013, so that's over 12 years ago right now, which is scary thinking about that. And I've played a lot of events, and it was usually the same thing. If you look at enduring confrontations and so forth, the first try was always really good, and then the community expected a lot more like that. And then Gaijin, in one way or the other, made it so that the players, really didn't catch on. There was no real improvement. It's always like halfway done, and then years later we still see no real improvement. I'd love to see more events like these to happen. I would love to see more World War One cruisers and destroyers in the tech tree, maybe in folders, so that real MVP tryhards can unlock them. But for the normal player, he can skip it in terms of progression. This is again one of the ways that Gaijin has given themselves the opportunity to do so, yet they fail in seizing the opportunity. And this is something that I'm really always sad about, to just, having the same pattern as usual. And it would be a massive shame for Gaijin to waste this opportunity that we see here. Again, I actually had a surprising amount of fun, despite what it looks like on screen. Just firing away. I cut out the first couple of minutes because I was slinging, and it took me. I was just slinging salvo after salvo in the air, and at 15 kilometers, you can actually have 2 salvos in the air simultaneously due to the 20-second reload, which is quite sick. And I happened to actually run out of AP in my first battle. And nice screw up with the, well, HUD, I'd say. Again, unsurprisingly, we did very well. The original match took like 20 minutes. It should take longer, giving us the opportunity to then really see the differences in the long run, quite literally. But as it goes, I really enjoyed the event so far. I'd like to play more. I would love to see more players getting getting involved in here. But as it is right now, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts. Are you interested in such events? Have you played it? What are your suggestions for improvement, or do you think it's perfect? Again, please give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. For you, it's just a couple of clicks. For me, it means the world. And as usual, we will see each other on the battlefields, in the skies, and on the waves of War Thunder.